Alright guys, now we're going to talk about income elasticity of demand. So there are a couple of things to be clear about. First of all, that's the graph from last time. First of all, if I increase my income, then my demand curve is going to shift out, right? So we've already thought about that. If I have more money to spend, then sure, I'm going to be willing to spend more. I'm going to be willing to buy more of a given good or service at any given price because I've got more spare, more around. So that's one graph. But what we might be really interested in is how does the quantity of the good that we buy vary with our income? So I'm going to draw this graph here. In fact, I may draw it the other way around. That may be. So Y for income. Why is it Y for income? I have no idea. Maybe we could say yield, like how much we get, but I don't know why it's Y for income, but it is. It always is. Y for income or for production in economics. We'd be saying, okay, well, so how much does quantity change as income is changing? So this graph, for example, well, look, that's a huge change in quantity for a small change in income. A small increase in income created a huge change in quantity. This is very elastic. Income elasticity of demand. So we'd call the income elasticity of demand, we're going to call it YED. And it's pretty much the same story as PED, but instead of talking about changes in price, it's talking about changes in income. So this is a very elastic curve because there's a huge change in quantity for any small change in income. So this might be actually your luxury goods and services, your treats, the nice things that you do, whether you go on a holiday is going to be quite sensitive to your income. Whether you, how often you go out, maybe, right? Do you go out once a week or do you go out twice a week? Well, that's going to depend on your income. It's going to be sensitive to your income. Whereas things like your necessities, what is your water bill going to change that much with your income? Hopefully not. Hopefully that's quite covered and you're going to be getting about the same amount of water within reasonable range with your income. And then something that's very inelastic, so hopefully the water bill, well, how much water you get isn't really changing with your income. So it's going to take a very big increase in your income for you to be like, wow, I'm really rich and I'm going to have showers that last for 5 hours. It's going to take a while before you get to that point. So that would be the case of something that's inelastic because there's a very small change in the x-axis. And again, it's unitary YED if the ratio is about the same. So YED, just like PED, can be thought of in terms of a percentage change. I should explain this is for change, this sign, delta. And so percentage change of quantity divided by the percentage change in your income. And so if it's 1 down here, then it's saying, well, how much has your quantity changed in percentage terms with a 1% change in income? Again, we would pretty much say, hey, if this is bigger than 1, then it's elastic because your quantity is changing a lot with your income. If it's 1, it's unitary because they're changing at the same kind of ratio, or the proportion by which they're changing is the same, more precisely, because they're changing by the same percent. And unitary. And then finally, if it's under 1, then it's quite inelastic because you're having to change your income by more than 1% to get a 1% change in quantity. So that's income inelastic. That is your basic introduction to income elasticity of demand.